Hello everyone, I'm Brian Miller, and this is the NewsNet Weekly Roundup, the weekly show where I break down the biggest news stories out of the Star Wars universe. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell to be notified anytime there's new content. Without further ado, let's get started. A third game in Respawn Entertainment's popular and critically acclaimed Star Wars Jedi video game series has been confirmed to be in development. While this isn't particularly surprising, what is notable is that Cal Kestis actor Cameron Monaghan was the one to drop the reveal. Monaghan was participating in a Star Wars Jedi series panel at Ocala Comic-Con alongside Marin actress Tina Ivlev. The performers discussed how they landed their roles as well as their general experiences making both games. The most interesting part, however, came at the very end of the panel when the moderator asked both of them about upcoming projects they're working on. Monaghan responded, "We're working on the third, and we're in the process of doing it right now. That's a big undertaking, and it's been some conversations so far. Hopefully, when all things are said and done, we'll be able to go in and make something really cool for you guys again." This news will be more than welcome for fans of the series who are eager to see Respawn finish their planned Star Wars Jedi trilogy. Unfortunately, the director of the first two games, Stig Asmussen, won't be serving in the same role for the next installment as he recently left Electronic Arts. Still, Respawn as a studio has a remarkably strong track record with their games, and there's no reason to think that the third entry won't be as solid as the first two. Given that Jedi Survivor just released earlier this year, it's safe to say that gamers will be waiting for a good while before Cal Kestis' final adventure arrives. It's also possible that by the time the third Star Wars Jedi game releases, we'll have yet another generation of consoles out as well. As always, we'll keep you posted about any news related to the Jedi series and all other Star Wars games as it becomes available. Speaking of Star Wars games, the team working on Star Wars Eclipse would like to remind us that despite it being very far off from the sound of things, the title is not canceled. Meeting IGN at the 2023 Tokyo Game Show, Quantic Dream's Vice President of Marketing, Lisa Pense, confirmed that the upcoming Star Wars game, set to be the most ambitious and dynamic project the video game company has ever made, is still moving forward despite the title being absent from multiple video game presentations for nearly 2 years. Pense kept her lips tight but noted that the title is still alive and well despite future updates on the title being further off, and a release date is not being rushed by their new parent company, NetEase. Can I say it still exists? Because it exists. It's just not ready. It's simmering. One of the amazing things about working with NetEase is that they're not imposing release dates on us. Quantic Dream has always released games when they're ready, and I think the high level of quality that you get when you buy a Quantic Dream game is a testament to the value of that approach. And it's the same exact thing with Star Wars Eclipse. So you will know, but it's too early right now to really give any update on it. Prior to this, the last update that we got about 3 months ago was more of the same. Stuff was moving forward behind the scenes, but nothing that they could really show or talk about at this time. This is relatively unsurprising given the rumors that the game may be as far off from release as 2027 or 2028. Moreover, word out on the street is that the reason the project was announced so early at the Game Awards in 2021 was because Quantic Dream wanted to entice a potential buyer by advertising their involvement in a huge IP like Star Wars. NetEase acquired the company during the summer of 2022. Pense, however, did say that players should expect Quantic Dream's signature elements to be there, on top of a more gameplay-driven title than anything that they'd produced before. One of the big focuses we've had when we announced Star Wars Eclipse was to make sure it was clear that this is actually an action-adventure game that has all of the elements that you would come to expect and want from a Quantic Dream title, which is intricately branching narratives, multiple playable characters. There's no game over. Anyone can die, anything can happen, and the story sort of continues so that those signatures are still there. But what we've been doing is even more ramping up our expertise in the gameplay arena. Star Wars Eclipse does not have a set release date. The action-adventure game is set in the High Republic era, a time when the Jedi were at the height of their power and the Republic was at a cultural and economic peak, decades to hundreds of years before the time of the Skywalkers. It's been teased that players will be able to experience a variety of intersecting stories from various factions and explore many of the worlds of the galaxy far, far away. Rumors of the demise of Taika Watiti's Star Wars movie have apparently been greatly exaggerated. On Monday, World of Real shared a paywalled Patreon post from industry insider Daniel RPK, where he said that Watiti's long-announced future was quote-unquote dead. We can now confirm that this is not the case. One Take News was first to respond that his Star Wars movie was in development prior to the industry strikes and will continue once they conclude. The project is still alive at Lucasfilm, and Watiti should go back to work once the strike is over. The film was officially announced back in 2020, and as far as where Taika Waititi is at in 2023, Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy has previously said that they're having a small delay in crafting the third act. Not helping the problem is Watiti's schedule, who always seems to be someone who bites off more than he can chew. Earlier this year, a Deadline report said that Watiti wants to begin production on his film in 2024. According to Variety, the writer-director would have been in negotiations with the studio earlier this year to star in the project as well. Reporter Jeff Snyder from AboveTheLine.com said on the Hot Mic podcast that Watiti has already turned in multiple drafts of the script, which we assume from Kathleen Kennedy's and his own past comments, and that he owes them another one once the writers are allowed to go back to work. However, interestingly enough, Snyder also said that other writers have contributed to the script, though no names were mentioned. In any case, it isn't expected for Watiti's film to be taken up by one of the 3 dates Lucasfilm currently has set for Star Wars movies. Rumblings about Guillermo del Toro working on Star Wars have been going around for literally a decade, most of them based on truths. The filmmaker got a phone call about Episode 7 right after Disney acquired Lucasfilm, and though he turned it down, he said he was in conversations with the top executives at Lucasfilm, publicly discussing his idea for a Jabba the Hutt movie Godfather style. Well, it seems like the idea was more than just a couple of conversations over drinks. David S. Goyer, the famed screenwriter behind The Dark Knight and Man of Steel, who already worked for Lucasfilm on the VR game Vader Immortal, did an interview recently with Josh Horowitz to promote the second season of Apple's Foundation, and confirmed his collaboration with Lucasfilm extended beyond virtual reality. Apparently, Goyer wrote a full script for a Star Wars movie that Del Toro was going to direct, and a scriptment for an Origins of the Jedi movie that sounds a lot like James Mangold's announced film. I wrote an unproduced Star Wars movie that Guillermo del Toro was going to direct. That was about 4 years ago. And then I also have a scriptment for an Origins of the Jedi movie, also for Star Wars, that took place 25,000 years before the first Star Wars film. Guillermo del Toro caught the Twitter post with the snippet of an interview and replied saying, "True, can't say much, maybe 2 letters, J and BB. Is that 3 letters? When pressed about what went down that terminated the project before it was further developed, Goyer said the following. There was just a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going on at Lucasfilm at the time, but it's a cool script. You should ask Guillermo about it the next time you have him on. It's a cool script. There's a lot of cool artwork from it that was produced." Goyer says that happened about 4 years ago, which seems to line up with the 2018-2019 window, where Lucasfilm was going through a lot of turmoil on the film side. Disney has set 3 future dates for Star Wars theatrical releases: May 22nd, 2026, December 18th, 2026, and December 17th, 2027. And finally, we have some new canon material to add to the ever-growing timeline of events. Ahsoka Part 6, Far, Far Away, aired on Tuesday night, and comic issues Bounty Hunters number 38 and Dark Droids D-Squad number 1 released on Wednesday. Reviews for those entries into the canon timeline can be found on our website. And that does it for your Newsnet Weekly Roundup this week. All of these stories and more can be found in greater detail on our website, StarWarsNewsNet.com. Don't forget to check back regularly for updates to stories and breaking news out of the Star Wars universe. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to our channel, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also follow me on Twitter at BrianMiller1138 and catch me each week on my show, the Star Wars Canon Podcast. Until next time, may the Force be with you.